you there. Thank you for watching, and welcome to Forge Alliance Forever. Today I have a 3v3 ladder matcher on the most amazing Neuroxis map generator. So let's go ahead and introduce our teams and our players, starting off with Team 1, also known as the Red Team in the north, ending with Team 2, also known as the Blue Team in the southwest. Starting off with Team 1, southeasternmost player in Ruby Red, we have Failer going first line as a UEF in Ruby Red. He is a 1634 rated, the highest rated player on Team 1. To his north in Orange to Color Orange, we have Scrat going first land, second air as a Cybern. He is a 1606 rating. And running out Team 1's lineup here in the northwest, we have Kramer going first land, second air as a UEF as well as his teammate of Failer. He is a 1545 rated in Sherry Crimson. So for Team 1 side of the map, they have 2 UEF and 1 Cybern, which means no Aeon, no Seraphim for Team 1. Starting up with Team 2, westernmost player, I should say, we have Cunning Fox going first line as a Seraphim in Royal Blue. He is a 1409 rated, going second air. In the middle here for Team 2, we have Lucinia going first line as a Seraphim as well. He is a 1475 rated in Amethyst Purple. And last but not least for Team 2 in Stitch Blue, Neutron going first line, second air. He is an Aeon at 1926 rated, the highest rated player on Team 2 and in the game overall. And again, he is in Stitch Blue. So for Team 2 side of the map, they lack what Team 1 has. So Team 2 has 2 Seraphim and an Aeon, and they lack UEF and Cybern Tech. And for 6 players on the map, let's go ahead and take a look at the reclaim here before they scoop it all up. Decent amount spotted around the map here so far. 11,000 reclaims. So let's just say 12,000 because they probably already started reclaiming a little bit. That means it's essentially 2,000 mass per player. In terms of, total mass on the map, not a lot, but definitely a decent amount for each player to scoop up here. Of course, we'll watch them funnel that into glorious heaps of units, buildings, upgrades, whatever the case they decide to go with. And in terms of mass point layouts here for, let's say, Team 2 side of the map, they've already started to expand over the place, but there's a quad mix over here, another quad mix here. There's a Trimex position in the middle, as well as a Trimex in the northwest here of Team 2's westernmost player. And besides that, all the other mexes here in the map are essentially in the middle or just kind of one-offs everywhere. There's a couple of mexes kind of close to each other in the middle along the, symmetrical line of the map. So definitely going to be a little bit of points of contention around those areas of the map, but I would assume, given the fact that this map is decent size, I mean, it's probably about 16 by 16. I figure it's going to be 1v1 in the southeast, 1v1 in the middle, and 1v1 in the northwest. So our players are going to be stretched pretty thin this game, except for the middle players, where it's essentially just, this is the avenue of entry, this is the avenue of entry, and there's... I don't think you can get units across this little land bridge. We will see. I don't think you can get a comm across there. But it would not be super hard to have a transport on there, and just kind of ferry units across there just to assist those teammates on that northwestern side of that. We already see some interceptors flying over here for both teams. Looks like Team 2 has a little bit of an advantage in that regard. Again, not really a huge concern between our players, just because, having interceptors is nice, but it's not really the end-all, be-all. But at least for Team 2, everybody is somewhat responsible for their own air. I love to see that, just to be able to respond either with bombers or interceptors. And again, early on to get a little bit of harassment against either expanding engineers or just a little bit of damage to maybe force the comm back a little bit. Just being able to do it themselves and not have to necessarily rely on their teammates is very nice. And of course, bigger games, you kind of have to focus on one or the other. And there are a couple, switching gears a little bit, there are a couple of pawns in the middle here for both teams. There might be maybe a T2 naval headquarters for some AA, but, the other side of the map would be completely out of range for everything. I highly doubt our players will use this. They'll probably use it more for cover for their comms more than anything else. But Team 2's player of Lucinia going for a gun speed and range upgrade here in the middle of the map. Team 1 putting a little bit of pressure on them in the middle of the map. Looks like the comm of Scrap moving along the middle, and Team 1's Failer actually splitting his attention both to the east and the middle sections of the map. So it looks like Team 1's orange, the color orange player focusing on air, does have T2 air online. That will put him a little bit in the overall in behind in terms of the land game, but it will give them a decent advantage in air if they can use it. The problem with that is that, of course, the longer the game goes on, that advantage really goes away. So it's all about if you want to go for air early, at this point, you might as well just go for bomber first. Or go for spy plane, then bomber. You can kind of guide your bomber around. Because it's going to be kind of a waste to just focus so much on the air game, and you lose a little bit of the land game because of that, and not really get anything out of it. Team 2 doesn't have any sort of headquarters online as of yet. No efforts to go for T2. Well, it has been started here for Lucinia, but again, it's already finished for Team 1, so again, very much behind in that regard. Gun damage range almost finished off here for Kramer in the northwest. Blue team's Cunning Fox is in the middle of the map, has finished reclaiming all of those civilian structures. Not going to be able to have to navigate the little bit of a maze that is those wall sections. Team 1 and Team 2 kind of just standing off in the middle. Looks like Lucinia going to push with that gun comm. Scrat is on the front line, does have a T1 land facility just to help pump out some land units, but is going to be forced back by that gun comm. And in the east, Team 1's fair. They're pushing southward, but Team 2 has expanded a decent amount here in the southeastern corner. Not necessarily with the mexes, but at least the presence of the map. We're going to make sure that they prevent any sort of expansionary efforts from Team 1. And we even see using the hover tech here from Team 2's Neutron, moving in with those Aurora, of course. Not really good up close and personal, but being able to use the water to their advantage is huge, especially because Team 1 cannot do that. Team 2 is the only players at this stage in the game able to use the water with those Team 1 hover tech units. T2 going online here, going for those Corsairs, so not going straight for those T3 bombers, which at this point they're starting to lose land in a couple of different areas, so definitely going to be able to put some presence from the air to be able to force back this land engagement as well as the one in the middle. We could see an early sniper attempt outbound from Scrat going after Lucinia. He is, again, very far forward. Most likely, I mean, maybe she. I don't know. Kind of like I usually play RPG games where I play as a guy, but there are guys that like to play as girls, go to play as guys, vice versa, whatever the case may be. So maybe that's a female. I don't know. Let me know down in the comments if you know them or not. I'll probably refer to them as her for the rest of the game, but again, that's just probably just going to be how I refer to them. Because again, if Lucinia is definitely sounds like a female name, so it's just one of those things. Anyway, we do see a lot of now counterattacks going down in the northwest here. Again, very similar to what's going down in the middle. The first comm to go for gun walks forward, and will do a lot of work. Team 1 Scrat going for gun as well, so Lucinia will be able to grab this position for a little bit of time. Mongoose online, definitely not very useful when you walk straight into the comm that has some overcharge and gun on board. Probably not the best idea there. Not necessarily there's any sarcasm in my words, if you couldn't have told by my tone of voice. And more we're just kind of poking and prodding at Team 1's mexes in the southeastern corner. Gun will finish. Lucinia will still push forward. Mongi starting to be built up here for Phaler. Still has to deal with these incursions. Does have the Mongis over here responding as well. We'll be able to catch up to these Aurora pretty quickly. We're going to be able to deal with them, but they are going to get a decent amount of damage on more of these T1 mexes. And again, it's not necessarily, oh, let's go take territory. It's more of, I'm just going to annoy the other team, take out some mass, maybe get like a couple more out of it than I thought, but I don't really think that's going to be the case here. Scrat getting control of these units here from his teammate of Phaler. That way he can micro them a lot better. These units need to move in. Mongis and Pillars making their way forward. Lucinia is dropping hit points as well as Scrat, but again, the favor of hit points does go to Team 2's Lucinia, especially when they're at almost 2-star veterancy. But those hit points are going to start to fall as these Mongis and other units come into range. Lucinia will have to be forced back a little bit. And in the west, Team 1's player of Kramer has been killed off by Cunning Fox. Looks like a decent amount of bombers overhead, as well as just the pressure that Team 1 was just, again, walking forward, but probably walked too far forward. It is now a 3v2 in favor of Team 2. And Corsairs on a mission for going after the T3 air headquarters that is being built. Let's see what they're going. They're going for the P-gens. It looks like they will get one of them. There are some interceptors on station to try to assist with this. And will they get the other one? It will slow down the upgrade, or at least the expansionary efforts to T3, spy planes, and ASF, and all of that. T3 is almost done here for Team 1. And the Corsairs will get the second Peach, and the upgrade will finish. But it's going to be a little bit of a slow uphill battle here for Lucinia in the middle. Definitely cuts down on the ability to produce those overcharges as well. So it kind of has a little bit of a double-edged, not a double-edged sword, but a nice little bonus to that. Kind of prevents, again, the buildup of energy. Whereas it's still positive, but it's not as good as it was. So they have to be a little bit more conservative with how much they use their overcharges. Not that they can't use them, but it's not as frequent as probably they would like it to be. But still putting the pressure here for Team 1. Stealth started here for Scrat. And his force is kind of just sitting over here now. He has to do dual duty in the northwest and the middle. T3 air online again for both of the air players. Secondary airplay here for Team 2's Cunning Fox. This can be very useful in forcing these units back. Already providing dividends here for himself with those Voltu gunships. Team 1, again, not really pushing into Team 2's territory over here. Team 2 being very conservative with how much they push in. They had a little bit of force running around, but again, they really like, oh, we can get a little bit more mass. I'm not really going to worry about the middle. I'm not going to be concerned about it. These players a little bit more eco-focused a little bit. We see Neutron does have the most mass generated per player on his team at 90. Of course, Scrat is a little bit skewed because it's now at 2 bases V1. Everybody else does have. We do see more units running around here from Team 2's Neutron to try to annoy. This hole is being plugged very well here. A couple of pillars and a couple of other system strikers to deal with the rest of these Aurora. And we see in the northwest, T2 land is online, going for T3, so just trying to blitz down T3 land technology, start pumping out some Titans and some Perseus on that western side of the map. And ASF are going to be in full swing here for both of the teams. But Team 2 going to be a little bit behind that. They do almost have a T3 PGen. They had to rebuild their first T2. They were going to build the second one, but then was like, I'll just build the T3 and call it good. Interceptor fight over the top of the middle here for both teams. Kind of just whittling down the rest of those interceptors. This fight usually happens at some point. I mean, I get it. You're like, oh, I can kill their interceptors and they can kill my interceptors. The mass gets dumped to the ground and then whatever the case may happen. But I don't know why teams and players just don't control K them and then just scoop up the mass that way. It's not a lot of mass, but I mean, when every wreck is, what, 40 mass? I mean, if you have 15 or so ASFs, that makes a difference. So I just don't know why just destroy them all. Of course, ASF can easily come in and wipe all of them out. But I don't know, I feel like it's a little bit of a waste. The mass does fall on Team 1's side of the map, so again, even if the units did get destroyed, at least they get the mass from it. Gunships are moving in here, coming to, again, raid the front line once again here for Team 1. Triads starting to be formed. Probably should get some flak online to really deal with these units going after the mexes once again. There's a T1 AA facility there, but not really in range. And it's some air scouts and spy planes going on the map here for Team 2. We do see some units in the west are going after some mexes with the calm of Neutron forcing his way forward, focusing all of his attention this way. Does kind of leave the side a little bit vulnerable. Does have some blazes nearby to be able to intercept any forces from Team 1 that do decide to engage. But most of the fighting has concentrated here in the middle of the map. Mostly that does happen. But it looks like it's starting to spread out a little bit on at least the southern edge of the map, at least the southeastern corner of the map. Northwest is kind of just hung out for the time being with the death of Kramer. Or Kamer. I've been saying Kramer the entire time, haven't I? Yep, I have been. Kamer. That's awkward. Anyway, kind of not really a whole lot going on now. T2 started here for Cunning Fox, going to try to secure his territory. Interceptors and now ASFs coming to mix in here for Team 1. ASFs are coming to add their firepower and go, nope, I'm good, see ya, bye. There is some now flak online as well, and some Corsairs too. So Team 1 having T1, T2, and T3 air technology in full view of the game. Looks like they're dealing with the rest of those air scouts. T3 land is online here for Scrat. Team 2 also has T3 air. No T3 land. Very interesting. If Team 1 were to heavily spec into just all of the Titans and the Perseus and the whatnot, this side of the map is gone, because there's no units for Team 2 that can really combat this. Building more T3 air facilities and no land, focusing here on Team 2 side of the map on the western side. That's definitely something that Team 1 can exploit, and they are starting to push in with some T1 and some T2. No T3 yet, Would like to see a couple of Percys here, especially with Cunning Fox going for some T2 PD here shortly. T2 PD, again, isn't the best in the game. Obviously, Ravagers are the best for damage, specifically for high-value targets like experimentals and comms. But, I mean, when you have a land army of that size, those PD, unless there's a lot of them, aren't really going to do a whole lot. We do see Lucinia on the front line once again. There are some triads here, but might want to warn you there that they can't really fire. You can actually see the comm over the ridge barely, but the triads cannot. So not really the best thing to put them there. Probably should have put them over here a little bit. It's just because there's this like tiny plateau over here, and it makes it very difficult to get a nice attack angle on those units coming in from the south. Team 1 still holding position on the entry to the upper plateau. Team 2 very much enjoying the kind of easy life they're having in the southeastern corner of the map. Would like to see a little bit more engineer, running around, getting the rest of the mass and Mechs. 6+ Corsairs, says Lucinia. And that is possible snipe territory, but honestly, I mean, that will force Lucinia back a little bit. She does have ASF, so it's not really that much of a concern. They'd get one volley in, but at 2-star veterancy, 16,000 hit points, it won't kill him. And Team 2's Neutron Control K is something in Russian, possibly connection issue related, but that's definitely disappointing. We hate to see it, of course, because players who depart because of connection issues or like outside world events definitely is not great, obviously, but it does happen, unfortunately, and it's now a 2v2 game, tied up, and there's only been one kill. I don't count Neutron's death as a kill. It was a departure, not a kill. I do kind of say a little bit of both, but definitely not a kill. Just had to teleport away, essentially, is probably the phrase that I will use. Away from comm, AFC, away from comm. But we do see some Titans actually running by this group of units here from Team 2's Cunning Fox. And there's really nothing to repel these units. There might be some gunships being spammed up, but again, Team 1's really exerting their military prowess here on the northwestern corner of the map. Team 2 is only going to be forced back. I feel like they should probably go for at least T2 land to try to, at least fight back at a minimum. But it's not really going well here for Team 2 on this western side. They did get a kill, but after that, it kind of just fizzled out. And Team 1 playing a little bit more of the defensive play in the middle and the east, obviously due to the fact that Team 2 has obviously a little bit more running around that they're doing, so they have to be defensive. But I do like this group of Blazes. Unfortunately, there's no AA in this mix, and with bombers on their tails, only T1s, but again, some damage is better than nothing, of course. It will force them back naturally due to the fact that they cannot defend themselves. There are some flak coming into the mix, so with that, that should be enough to be able to protect most of these units. They all have hover, both the Asylums, the Blazes, and the AA flak, so we'll be able to really utilize that water to great effect. And bombers over the top here for Team 1 Scrat. Again, only T1, but they're going after all of the PD, and now they're going to probably start going after the PD and the comms here in the west. Comms being singular, not plural, because there are only one of them. And we see more Titans coming into the mix. Missile launchers. We do see a Percy coming online. Cunning Fox only has T2. He's almost at 2-star veterancy, but that's not going to save him against the horde of units inbound from Scrad. And there are some bombers coming in as well. Titans will be blitzed down by those bombers. They got to move. Oh, well, almost dies to that volley of bombers, but is able to at least survive for the time being. And the orange wave is inbound. ASF's coming in to clear the skies above those units. And Team 2, I mean, they're inching forward. They're countering attack, but more PD are being built. Looks like the comm either going to fall back. They're going to fall back a little bit more. Not standing on the front lines, doesn't want to be sniped at this point. I mean, it is 20 minutes, so getting sniped definitely is a possibility here. Cunning Fox being run down. Bombers over top here, just trying to slow down this push, and it will do very good work here. There's some Mongeese and other missile launchers coming in, and the Titans and the other T3 units. There's one Percy nearby, but one Percy isn't really much to worry about, especially with most of those units coming to assist. But the Corsairs, that's something to worry about, and a lot of them do miss, unfortunately, here for Team 1 Scrat. He will drop his opponent of Cunning Fox into almost the red, But with that Percy nearby, that will drop that comm into the red. Another shot. One more will do it. But never mind. Cunning Fox is dead anyways. Team 2 loses another player here at 20 minutes. It's now a 2v1 in favor of Team 1, the red team in the Northeast, giving Lucinia control of everything on the map, which is a blessing and a curse, having to have to use the APM all the way around the map, but is able to direct all of the mass in their favor very, very easily because they have obviously all of the mass. And now we just see mop-up operations here for Lucinia, trying to, again, force back the units, or at least stop them in their tracks for the time being. The middle of the map, we're going to probably see a little bit more action here from Phalo now that there's only one comm remaining. Has to, again, constantly run around the map, wants to go back and forth, figure out what's going on over here, figure out what's going on over there. And it, again, eats up the time that they have, eats up the APM, eats up everything besides mass, because obviously they have control of all of the mass. But again, at 21 minutes and 30 seconds on the clock, Team 2 at 1 player left, Team 1 at 2 players left. Team 1 sitting at almost 400 mass income, Team 2 at 100 less than that, about 300 or so. So, of course, as this game progresses, if that discrepancy continues, it's not that much of a deal. It does make a difference, of course. But if the gap widens, it will be a huge issue for Team 2. And Team 1, again, owns probably about 50%. I'd say 50-50. They have units over here, and Team 2 has units over here. But it's not necessarily in their control. They're just occupying. But let me know down in the comments who you think is going to currently win this game. And obviously, but of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. My tongue is just not working today. I don't know if I got hit by an energy beam or something, but it's just my tongue is almost numb. For those of you who understand that reference, let me know down in the comments if you know what I'm talking about. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate all the time and attention you give to my videos. And let's go ahead with what's going on in the middle of the map here between the red and the purple. We do see a lot of Team 1 units having some disagreements. T2 units actually augmenting those forces here for Team 1. And a lot of these forces kind of just sitting here taking artillery fire. And the Titan actually not really going to be useful in this fight. Again, there's single shot fire, and only really effective against higher HP units, especially when the pillars and the other strikers are just blitzing down all the other units. But again, is able to deal, again, one-shots to anything it fires upon here. Team 2 needs to mount... Oh, okay. Well, you know, I say they need to mount up a counterattack, but that is definitely a counterattack. Lucinia has a Galactic Colossus T4 experimental assault bot online, has those vacuum arms coming in to assist his land forces, the pseudo-naval forces, I should say, on the water. Team 1, if they don't notice that... that is Team 2. Team 1 does not notice this. This is huge. They can see the unit. They don't know what it is, but they can see it. There's no radar jamming facilities on board that Colossus, so going to be definitely a surprise when those forces do wake up. But a ton of Harbingers coming in. You're going to just rip apart all of these T2 units. The Percy's looking like, I'm kind of done with this. I'm going to just head out. And it looks like that Colossus, again, as I said, just getting very close to here. Pings do go down here for probably somebody on Team 2, most likely Cunning Fox, saying, hey, your unit is there. You should probably use it while you have it. Team 1 doesn't have anything in the clip to be able to deal with this. Getting some more, again, facilities online for land and air. But I don't see any sort of fat boys or even monkeys coming online. The first Colossus of the day, first experimental of the day, will be a huge wake-up call here for Team 2. Sorry, for Team 1, from Team 2. Lucinia already half done to completing their second GC. But of course, with the focus on the GC and the middle, the southeastern edge is starting to collapse and has already collapsed. And this base will go down as well. And there's that APM just rearing its ugly head. There's only so much you can do per second. Even the best players in the game can only do so much. It's not like other games where you can just hit the pause button and do as many actions as you want and hit the play and see what happens. Well, definitely one of those things. If you haven't seen my Frostpunk videos, you know, and if you've played Frostpunk, you know having that pause button is huge. I mean, I'm playing on Extreme right now just to finish off a couple of challenges that I wanted to do for myself. And going from Survivor mode to Extreme, I mean, it could be the same quote-unquote difficulty, but not having that pause button is huge. It is very, very big. But speaking of the big moves coming out from the game, Team 2's Colossus ripping through facilities very quickly. The comm of Failure just trying to move out of range. Team 2 is trying to catch up to him. They can see him. Airfight over the top of said comm will go in favor of... Oh, I slowed that down. My mistake. I think team... it's pretty... there is some AA nearby, so I might just give it to team 1 ever so slightly. But the Colossus is in range of the comm. Oh, wouldn't have mattered if he was underneath shield coverage. Some of the ASF do get killed off in that explosion. Team 1 is now left with one player, that being Scrat. And if that Colossus does continue to move northwest and catch up to the comm, that is it for Team 1. That would be the game win move for Team 2. So far, I think Team 2's Lucinia has the best move in the game overall. Going after the air grid, going to kill that off. Killed off a comm. Huge moves with that first Colossus. And again, when you have all the mass in the world, might as well use it. Team 1 sitting at 500 mass income, and they still cannot produce units fast enough to deal with this. Again, obviously that mass now transferred over to Scrat, being going to be able to use it more effectively. T3 facility just getting ripped to shreds. Colossus at 1-star veterancy, almost at 2 bombers. T2 PD. All of these units now moving northward. It does give a little bit of opportunity to Team 2 to fight back in the south and in the west, but units charging the base here in the west here for Lucinia, once owned by Cunning Fox. Colossus continuing on, going to go for the T3 land headquarters in the west, and this would be huge. Don't build engineers, even though they're Sparkies. Build not Colossus. Build Perseus or something to really do damage on this thing. Titans are not going to be able to do the damage. T3 land headquarters trying to be saved as much as possible. It will not be. Team 1 loses their T3 air and their T3 land. This is huge. They do have another T3 land facility down here for UEF, but they don't have an ASF facility right now. More pigeons going down. Team 1's losing power, losing headquarters, losing everything. All of the attention for Team 1 is focused right here. And this is huge for Team 2's Lucinia to just kind of get a nice breather on things, take it, take a chill pill, not take a chill pill, but like take a deep breath, drink some water, be able to refocus on other things. That Colossus, again, will be a mass dump, but killing out 49, 50,000 mass. Oh, that Colossus is still not dead. There it goes, 50,000 mass. Again, pigeons have died. T3 land and air facilities are down. The calm of Failure also got killed off in this move. This was huge for Lucinia, just what they needed for a little bit of some breathing room, but we do see some pillaging units here from Scrat just running around the map. Another Colossus is online. Unfortunately, it probably will not be as effective as the first one, but the first one was very effective. In the west, a lot of focus going for TMD, but there's a lot of missile launches here. Firebase online, don't see any PD, mainly just spearheads and the like. Gunships move in, and some AA just rips those gunships apart. They're not really known for their hit points. They're really known for their damage and how they're kind of cheap too. So definitely not the best unit to send against some flak, but it is something. There are some Harbingers starting to stack up as well. But again, Perseus can blitz them down, as well as some Clink Hammers as well. This Firebase getting very, very annoying for Team 2's Lucinia, and there's also a T3 land facility over here pumping out artillery. So T3 artillery, T3 missiles. We do see some Perseus, we see some Titans. Those spearheads are being blitzed down, unfortunately, but there are enough Perseus, I believe, with some Titans mixed in as well to do enough damage. Essentially, it's a two-shot with some assistance from other units. Artillery is targeted, the Perseus are targeted. I don't think the Harbingers will deal enough damage to really give Team 2 enough time to repel, but I don't think there'll be enough time to really force back Team 1. Of course, this Perseus being built all the time and coming to augment the reinforcements. And it's not really going anywhere. I mean, it is. It's going in Team 2's direction ever so slightly, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Team Else's failure. There's one over there. Apparently there's one over there, interestingly. And that last of the Harbingers. One of the artillery pieces is down. Some of the spearheads still alive, though. Probably should have targeted those. There's also some T2 mobile as well. More Harbingers moving in, though. I feel like Scrat's probably thinking it's probably not worth it to invest more into this position. Maybe fall back to here, get some more Titans, get some more Perseus online, and make it a little bit more defensive. I do like the aggressive play, but there's just too many shields, too many AA, not AA, too many TMD and whatnot to really puncture through that base. Colossus moving into the water once again. Unfortunately, Scrat does have a couple of engineers just hanging out. So if they do come into visual range, you will see that. In T3, engineering suite being built here by Scrat's commander. Does have a stealth online, so can't be spotted, at least at this range. And we do see Lucinia doing the exact same thing. Actually, in the exact same pond, too. So both players almost in the exact same place, in the same pond. Not necessarily doing the exact same thing, but, you know, going a little bit more defensive. We have Nano and Gun. Obviously, T3 and Radar. Would like to see if he does go... He could do a move of going Telemazer and kill his opponent before he dies. But it's a very risky play. It's one of those last-ditch efforts of, if I kill the opposing comm, I win the game. And if I die in the process, I was going to lose anyways kind of thing. It's definitely a desperation play, but it could work. But him in the water, nah, it's not going to work. He needs to draw him out of the water. Large amount of units sitting here on the beachhead waiting for that the Colossus to come into range. If the Colossus can just peek its head up just ever so slightly, just a little bit more, it will be enough. You can see... Oh, well, that was weird. You can see the Colossus. There it goes. Shots have been engaged. And those Perseus are being the focus here from that Colossus. Going to do tons of damage here to this land army. Only the head needs to be exposed. Look at this. Just ripping through everything on the beachhead here. And Team 1 not really engaging. And they're moving eastward. That's why the units definitely can get into range. But they can't see them. They need a little bit more vision on them. That's why they're not targeting them. But all of the longer range units are being killed off. G6 says Failure. That's definitely a GC. I mean, you could just tell because of the laser on screen. And there are some engineers now coming in for just some vision. But all the rest of the units have retreated. And now that Colossus is going to move in. Already killed off 13,000 mass. So already provided a decent amount of dividends here. Especially we're dealing with that land army that was building up here for Scrat. And monkeys have been started here for Team 1. Going to reclaim the rest of the wave of destruction. With the second one already here, Team 1 needs more defenses. Either that's mobile or stationary or both. Probably both. That Colossus, again, can rip through everything over here. Take out all the mass. I mean, yeah, you're not producing as much mass as your opponent. I mean, you don't know that, obviously. But Team 1 sitting at 500. And Team 2's sitting at 230. So essentially a 2-to-1 advantage. And again, Team 1 and Team 2 very spread thin. We see, you know, Mechs is down here. He can reclaim and build over. Conversations in chat. Telemazer is most likely what Cunning Fox is referring to. I see Telemazer just saying, hey, get some defenses just in case. The comm's in the water, so it's not really that much of an issue. We do see some Ravagers being spammed up, T2, PD as well. That Colossus will rip through those defenses very quickly. There's not enough of them. There's not enough Perseus. There's not enough Bombers. There's not enough anything. It's going to be less effective, as I said, versus the first time, but still going to do tons of damage here. AA coming in to secure the skies at least a little bit. T3 Pigeons going to be pinged here by Team 2's players, saying if you kill off the Pigeons, then you can get a bigger explosion. There goes the command to go after the Pigeons. How much gets killed off? A decent amount. Ravager gets killed off from the explosion. Percy also feels most of that damage in his backside and does get clipped at the knees there. More PD being built over here, just spamming up as many forces as they can. ASF trying to secure the area, and probably don't land your ASFs next to the Colossus. Probably not the best idea. Colossus already in the yellow, but has already killed off 44,000 mass and climbing. Might kill off more mass than his brother did, but hasn't made it all the way through yet. T3 Air Headquarters has been targeted and pinged by Team 2. Another GC coming, says Failure. Well, it's already there. It's not coming. It's there. And it looks like the T3 Air Headquarters is going to be targeted once again. Unfortunately here for Team 1, their T3 air facilities are being the main target of opportunity. There it goes. And that comm sitting at 51,000 mass killed more mass than his brother did. And Monkey is almost done. If this finishes, Team 1 will secure the area. But if it does not, yeah, they will not. They're really trying to rush to finish that off. We'll see the Monkey being built. T3 Mechs is being targeted. Tickle Cannons online as well. Everything needs to be focused on this incoming Colossus. The Monkey is in the green, very, very close. Got like 6,000 hit points left to go. Percy coming in. Oh, gets grabbed. Never mind. Can't do much of anything. Shoots. Hey, let me go. Hey, hey, let me go. Let me go. And the Monkey, oh, almost gets finished. It's being targeted, though. It's not being, the engineers aren't being targeted, which means that the Monkey will finish. It will lose hit points, but it will finish. Oh, it's not outputting enough damage. Oh, there it goes. The monkey is completed. Should have targeted the engineers or the P-gens. The monkey trying to get out of range. At this point, you might as well just send it in. The shield turns on once again, giving a little bit of a brief respite here for said monkey. Laser has activated, and at this point, it's going to be enough. The monkey will probably die. It'll be close. Oh, it's in the red. Oh, just barely survives with not even 5,000 hit points. But had that Colossus targeted all the engineers and the P-gens nearby, that monkey never would have finished. It just never, the engineers would have died and that would have been it. Another little bit of a mass dump from Team 2, but again, when you kill off more mass than you drop, not really a mass dump. But definitely, it's a nice return on investment. Definitely killed more mass, killed off more mexes as well. Team 1 drops below 5. I keep saying Team 1, but Scrat drops below 500. And Lucinia coming back up now at 300. It's not a 2-to-1 advantage now for mass, but again, that gap is starting to prove dividends. You see that second Colossus was not as effective as the first one was. And again, Scrat still trying to recover, and the reclaim is still sitting there. I think he's more focused on, I mean, he does have energy. He doesn't need more P-gens. I don't know what he's realistically thinking about. Needs to rebuild the T3 air headquarters. Team 2 could easily punish Team 1. I keep defaulting to Team 1 and Team 2. Lucinia could easily punish Scrat if he goes for air, which, I mean, he's going for a Czar, which definitely is not going to feel good. Another Colossus, I heard it, moving up the front line here. Just taking some shots. I mean, 200 hit points per shot versus a 10 hit point region is essentially a net of, what, negative 180 by the time the shot is fired and lands. I think it's like 180 or something. It's more like, yeah, it's about 180 because you have 10 hit points a second regen. It's like by the time the second shot hits, it's essentially about 180. But again, negative is negative, but again, that's a low negative in terms of being hit points. All of those, they are moving across that land bridge. Look at that. It's just barely wide enough to fit all those units. I don't think a monkey or a Colossus could walk through that, but T3 units can. Look at that. Just barely enough for those feet to move and gain some ground and not fall off the side of the map. Czar is spotted here by Failer, the man in the chair here from Team 1. Czar is going to take a while to build, so Team 1 does have time to defend against that. And they're getting a lot of AA as well. Team 1 just decided to play defensive. I don't blame them. Oh. You're not sending a Colossus in the water, says Scrat. No. No Colossi in the water. Bad. Because even though they're T1s, there are 40 of them. Well, 38. 2 of them aren't built. But that's a lot of firepower. So probably shouldn't stick your feet in the water there, Colossus. Gonna hurt. And your toes are going to be figuratively on fire. Yeah, but that Colossus coming in can be able to take out actually a decent amount of that T1s, though. So all that energy and mass spent for building those defenses kind of not really feeling good now. But again, is able to just barely escape by. Engineers getting grabbed. Oh, oh, there goes another one. Funny watching them just get instantly crushed by that Colossus arm. Oh, it's just, and there it goes, and there it goes. Counterattacks going down here in the west with some artillery outbound from Lucinia. Scrat, again, I don't blame either of these players for taking as long as they have to really fight back in any sort of way, just because, again, you're microing so many units, so much mass, you're trying to build up your eco, you're trying to manage it, you're trying to, do 1,000 things at once. You obviously can't do that because your eco is just going to collapse. But I got to give it to Lucinia so far. 3 attacks, all from Colossi, 2 of them not assisted, 1 of them is assisted. And is now going to go after all of the mass. Has targeted not necessarily different targets. I mean, the first 2 obviously went down the exact same path. But the second one, now going after the mass in the east, going to really just nip at Team 1's coffers just constantly. Team 1 has accrued 800,000 mass versus Team 2's 550. So 250,000 more mass. And Team 2 is in the lead for air, and they're in the lead for, I'd say, ground to some degree. I wouldn't say the entire degree. But look at the territory. It's not claimed. And I love how there's just 2 radar systems down here just completely hanging out with one another. Units moving in to intercept that Colossus. Lots of flak to try to deny the spy planes and ASF from flying around, and also gunships. But pumping everything into land here is what Scrat is doing. I mean, sending the monkey forward probably isn't the best idea. Using the long-range cannons, not engaging, that's probably a good way to go. Probably should just target those Harbingers, get it to 1-star veterancy, and get a little bit more hit points back. But where are those Perseus going? I have no idea. They're trying to hide behind that monkey. The monkey's going to die by the time those Perseus even up. And there it goes. And 28,000 mass killed and climbing. Perseus move in. They need to move in. They have to move in at this point. You can't sit at range. The longer they sit at range, the better the Colossus is. And you just focus it. Even if you lose the fight here, killing off the Colossus is the main thing. Every Perseus coming in now targeting the Harbingers, but some of them are hitting those that Colossus as well. Most of those Harbingers are going to die off, though. And that Colossus is just going to get ripped apart by Perseus. Perfect example of, I mean, a lot of one single, high fire damage shots. And take down that Colossus very quickly. It does dual grab Perseus, so we'll reduce the numbers pretty quickly. But dropping into the red now, it's just, I mean, the Perseus is just the best unit in terms of T3, T4 damage. In terms of taking out T3, T4 units kind of thing. There it goes. I mean, lots of mass was lost, but not as much mass was killed this time. Third Colossus from Team 2. And now the Tsar is online. That is rough. Ooh, Nuke, says Cunning Fox. Nuke is 10. I thought it was 10% loaded. It is 10% built. Not as much as I thought. That could be the thing that Team 1 needs to win the game. SMD is not online, but building an emissary now. Has switched off production. I mean, is not focusing Colossus as much, but now going for artillery. Team 1 will notice that. And I love that Phaler is being the one that's like, hey, there's a thing going on. And then Team 2's Cunning Fox is, hey, there's a thing going on. But I love that assisting going on here for both of these teams is men in the chair. Looks like that Tsar trying to move into the west to get out of range of all of the AA, but it's just going to run into more AA. You can see it. Team 1 knows where that Tsar is. Going after some mass. I mean, not bad. Actually going to go after this facility over here. ASF starting to stack up, but there's so many ASF here for Team 2. And T3 Air Headquarters is back online. Nuke is probably going to be the primary target. It's 2/3 the way built. And now more T2 Mechs are being killed off. Team 2 might eclipse Team 1 in mass generation just by killing everything off that Team 1 owns. And will that Tsar engage the base? I don't know. Looks like it's trying to move north. It's trying to go all the way around the AA, which I love the play here. The question is it going to be worth it? Looks like the ASF do move in. And there's a lot of Cougars online as well. Looks like their target is the Nuke. Given the fact they're going all the way around for it. More AA being built very, very quickly here. Building more pigeons as well. But the ASF fight, of course, does go in Team 2's favor. But there's just so much AA being built. I feel like it's going to hyper-focus that Tsar very, very quickly. The Tsar, yes, is going after the Nuke. And those hit points are going down very, very quickly. AA, more of it coming into range. Oh, the shields are falling. The Nuke has been killed off. But unfortunately for Team 2's Tsar, that is gone. Going to kill off another P-Gen and a couple of engineers. Actually, a lot of AA too. But was it worth it in my case? Or not my case, in their case. I'm not the one playing the game, so why would I say my case? That is not the 24,000 mass to scoop up from that wreck. How's the artillery? It's in the yellow, so Lucinia being like, hey, be distracted by this. Oh, I have another thing. Be distracted by this. Oh, this is my actual goal. Going for artillery. I mean, he's really hyper-focusing his mass. I love this because Team 1 isn't really engaging where Team 2 is weaker. Could be attacking the southern edge. A lot of Harbingers building up just for defensive measures. Harbingers and engineers kind of just running around here. I do love the fact that he's prepping a little bit for any sort of land incursions, but really just focusing on air and artillery in the green here. And that is the best T3 artillery in the game. Maybe you need to build only engineers from air factories now. I mean, you got to scoop up that reclaim. Building monkeys is not going to be enough. Going to build his own Duke. Doesn't even have shielding online. That's not going to last anytime soon. Another monkey is built though. I feel like Team 1 Scrat has the mass. With experimentals, reclaim, you can build artillery very fast as failure. Yeah. I mean, there's this one over here. There's this one right there. There's that one up there. Gonna reclaim the Monkey Lord, not spend the mass for that. The shield has to be built immediately. If the Duke is killed off, that will be the game here for Team 2. Team 2 will win this fight. I mean, one emissary to no artillery will win that fight. And the emissary has now almost been completed. I almost said now completed, but it's not done yet. And again, I love the one shield. I would prefer it being a T3 and there being a little bit more. But at least there's something. It protects the pigeons at a minimum. And that emissary has now been completed. T3 artillery is online for Team 2's remaining player of Lucinia at 44 minutes. And I don't know what they will target, but they will probably target whatever Team 2's ASFC. And they're going to target that Duke. That's what I would target at this point. I mean, they can see it being built. And again, no shield online. I don't know what they're going to go for. Maybe they'll go for that Duke. Maybe they'll go for something else. Spy planes over top, getting a nice readout on what Team 2 is doing. Oh, Lucinia's doing, I should say. No anti-nuke, by the way, says Failer. And approximately 10% says Cunning Fox, so that's probably going to be the target. Could go, yeah, could have just rushed the nuke again. That could have been the way that Scrat came back in this game. He was doing that earlier, but then was denied by the Tsar. Had the Tsar not killed off the nuke, that probably would have been game right there. And that emissary, yes, is most likely going to target that Duke. That Duke is going to die instantaneously. There are shields going to be built. Is it going to be wide enough to cover it? I don't know. I don't think so. It might just be barely enough to not cover it. Let's see. It's not 50%. But it'll shield at least from this side. Needs to get a little bit more. Rush, nuke, and win, says Failer. Yeah, that's definitely the case. Nukes the artillery. That's it. I don't see Team 2's Lucinia doing much of anything else. Has the combat there, still protecting itself. They only really have two main facilities. They have the air grid and artillery, and then this other air grid over there. That's really about it. That emissary is firing on that Duke. Duke is in the yellow 25% and more. Needs more shield coverage. Artillery shot lands over here. A couple of east storages. That would have been bad, but at least it would have been over there and not over there. Biplane over top. Again, going to see what's going on. Lots of AA being built. Team 2's air has at least been denied at a minimum. Few T2 shields and engineering stations. There goes the artillery. The shield is almost down. Will protect from another shot, but needs more shields. Looks like T2 is going to be a little bit spammed up a little bit just to protect again from any artillery shots coming in. I do like the fact that you can essentially stack a shield on top of a shield by putting the T2 underneath the T3. And the T3 being assisted as well. Love to see this. You'll be able to expand out the shield grid a little bit more. And I don't see any efforts to go. Oh, nope. Nuke's up here. And it was a stealth field generator that has been built to protect it. They do not know about its existence up there. Knows about the air grid over here. See, the T1 pigeons are nice because they don't cause cascade, but the pigeon assistance definitely is lacking, of course, versus the T3. And that artillery is in... I mean, it's pretty close to the green. It's not going to probably crack the shields, at least initially, for Team 2. Going to go for more Colossi. Now, see, again, I still default to Team 2, even though there's only one player left on both teams. It's just ingrained in my brain. I can't get it out of there. And it's going to finish here pretty shortly. And that nuke is going to finish as well. It looks like the Duke is the distraction while the nuke is the goal. Team 2 not going for any sort of anti-nuke. It's definitely a mistake here. One nuke, that's the game. You target the artillery. You're going to clip a lot of the mass, clip a lot of the engineers. It's going to take time to rebuild all of that. There's no efforts to really attack on the land in any regard. Scrat has it controlled in the northwest. Southeast pretty much fine. GC makes a comment here by Failer, but again, it's almost going to be built. It's not on its way, so it's going to take a couple minutes to walk over there. So it's gonna be a minute on that. More T3 shields being built. Love to see it. Would like to see at least 2 more pigeons, but the shield's blocking it, so at least 1 more to increase the fire rate. The emissary is firing at the fastest. Nope, not the fastest. Almost the fastest it could fire. Needs 1 more T3 pigeon there. But nuke is loading, and it's going to fire immediately after it loads, and it's going directly for that. Oh, that should be enough to clip the artillery. He could probably move it on top of that T2 pigeon and confirm it, but wants to get as much damage down as possible, which I don't blame him, because one shot is better than 2 shots. We do see Harbingers coming in, taking out the Titans running around the map. Those Titans, I mean, probably didn't need to engage, though. The Harbingers could easily just start wiping stuff out on the eastern side of the map, but looks like he's just distracted, focusing on that Duke. You can target this, no shield, says Failer. Oh, target, yeah, if he takes out the air grid here and then takes out this with the Duke with the nuke, that'll be it. The artillery isn't going to be enough to pierce the shielding. Apocalypse strategic missile launcher has been started here for Team 2's remaining player of Lucinia. And the shields are starting to fall around it. That would really suck if an artillery shell just landed on top of that and killed that off. That would be bad, but so far artillery didn't miss it. And spy planes will notice the nuke, I would assume. Yes, they have noticed it. They might change their... Yep, they have changed their targets onto that position over here. At least they saw a shot land somewhere. Scrap builds an experimental. It's another monkey. He does have, you know, experimentals for defense, and he's playing very defensive. SMD is online. I guess he notices the nuke being built. Gonna build another. This one isn't even done yet, and you haven't even... I don't understand that. I mean, you can't see the icons, but if you fly over it, you'll see it. Oh, is that an SMD? No, oh, that's an SMD. Okay, it looked like the same thing. I can't read, apparently. I cannot read. It's I probably have subcom brain for some reason. I just cannot seem to read. And that nuke is gonna launch, and it's gonna finish before that SMD is finished. That's probably why they switched. And it's gonna hyper load as fast as it can. Not gonna have enough time. Artillery is taking out the T3 air grid over there. Well, there's only really one kind of air grid. It misses that shot. And the nuke will launch. And artillery does land around it. Oh, it's all it's got to do is finish, and that's it, and launch, and that's the game. Oh, pings do go down. Oh, artillery lands, takes out the shield that was being built. Looks like he has some PGen issues. Looks like you got to launch that nuke immediately. There it goes. It is safe. That is going to be the game. SMD trying to be loaded as fast as possible. Probably should have built it a couple of minutes ago. And that is not going to feel good. 5 points over top again, going to get a little bit more vision. And it looks like the nuke did take a hit. 7 strats says Failer. That's not great. So Team 2 is not out of this just yet. But again, Team 1 is going to have the only operational artillery. There it is. SMD will not load. Engineers trying to move out of range. Shields are down. And kaboom! Almost all the pigeons are gone. The reclaim is gone. GC incoming says Failer. But again, it's going to be a little bit of a walk to get to that artillery and to that nuke launcher. Nuke launcher will be fine now. Getting repped up here at 97,000 mass killed with 1 nuke. Definitely a hyper effective nuke there. Second artillery has been started here from Scrat. It is now a almost 3-to-1 advantage in match generation. I heard strat bombers somewhere. Looks like they they tried to go after that hummingbird P1 air scout because there was an enemy that landed. A pigeon got killed off. 1 more pigeon remains of that artillery emplacement. That is hilarious. It's going to land again, and they're going to target that. That is crazy. Harb squad says Failer, but it's coming in 1 by 1. The PD isn't going to be enough, but again, that's a long walk still to that main facility of the artillery. More SMDs are going to be, not more SMDs, more stuff is going to be built, and Scrat gets the win because Lucinia can see the writing on the wall. Did have some strats, but again, even if he did send them in, there's a lot of AA to chew through. There's shields. It's essentially either the nuke or the artillery. The nuke would be the better target, but there's a lot of AA between those strat bombers and them. 1 nuke. That's all it took to win the game. Let me know down in the comments who you would pick for MVP. My pick has to go to Strat, last remaining player on Team 1. Lucinia did a very good job. You know, all 3 of the Colossi definitely did very good. The first one was the best. The second one was not too bad. The third one could have been better, but did very good job constantly punishing Scrat. But it was essentially sending Colossus to distract from the Tsar, sending the Tsar to distract from the Emissary. Emissary didn't really have a goal after that. and then was killed off by a nuke. Had they built one SMD, the game would have lasted obviously a lot longer. But I do think with the mass advantage that Scrat had, I don't think it would have. Team 2 would have had to, or Lucini would have had to have a huge play to be able to really come close to defeating Scrat. So I think the main mistake was just not sending everything in at once. And had they waited for maybe 2 or 3 Colossi, maybe 2 Colossi to build up, so the first 2 build up together, probably could have steamrolled the rest of Team 1 and called it a day. But well, sometimes you just got to take the risk, and it worked, but then it didn't work in the end. But again, let me know down in the comments what you felt about the match. And of course, if you haven't done so already, like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you so very much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And I will see all of you in the next one.